Florida Governor Ron DeSantis continued the final stretch of his re-election campaign on Sunday in a series of rallies across his state. Keeping to his standard stump speech, the incumbent governor sounded off on cultural issues, especially the teaching of so-called gender ideology to students. DeSantis has made himself a major national voice against teaching young children about gender and sexuality in public classrooms. He passed a parental rights education bill critics dubbed Don't Say Gay, which caused a national uproar earlier this year. It earned him applause from right-wingers and condemnation from the left. Polls show DeSantis has a great chance of being reelected and easily fending off a challenge from Democrat Charlie Crist. Should he win a second term, DeSantis would immediately become a top-tier Republican presidential contender.
So one of the things I'm proudest of in Florida is we've really led the way on the issue of education and on the issue of parents' rights. And I know we worked very hard. I saw when I was coming in Bridget Ziegler on the school board. Where is she? Is she here? Oh, there she is. Do we have other school board members here? Who? Oh, okay, I can't see. How many? Just one? Okay. We have three. Are those the same three that just won election? Okay. So, you know, we helped out in these school board races and helped in a bunch of counties. We did, I think, 30 races. And, you know, we raised and we spent a lot of resources, from some of the organizations to help get the message out. But the result is, just in the August primary, we won like 24 of the 30 races. You now have a great school board in Sarasota that's going to reflect the community's values. Because I can do all this stuff in Tallahassee with the legislature. We can do good policy. But if the school boards are undermining that, then it's not going to be effective. And look, there's certain parts of our state where you have a very liberal electorate, but most parts are not like that. And before we got involved, you'd have these really red counties with left-wing school boards. And so that ends now in Florida. We're going to make sure the school boards reflect the community. And part of the reason we've had to do that is because in Florida, we believe in protecting the rights of parents to play that fundamental role in the education and upbringing of their kids. Schools are important. School districts are important. Charter schools, private, whatever you talk about, very important. But those institutions do not supersede the rights of parents. And so we've done things like curriculum transparency so that parents have the right to inspect what's being taught in the schools. Imagine there's people that oppose that. Why would you oppose curriculum transparency? The only reason is you're worried that parents knowing what's going on will be an impediment to you using our school system to indoctrinate students. That's the only reason you would oppose curriculum transparency. And yes, we do not believe schools should be used for indoctrination. It should be used for education. And that is why we have banned critical race theory in our K through 12 schools. We're not teaching kids to hate our country or to hate each other. No, we're going to teach the truth about our country, about our Constitution, about our founding principles, about our Bill of Rights. We're going to teach students what it means to be an American citizen. That is our obligation. And part of that is being thankful to be an American citizen. Part of it's understanding other systems. And so I signed legislation this year, starting tomorrow, November 7th. Every November 7th is going to be a day for the state of Florida to reflect and then have students learn in school about the victims of communist regimes throughout history. 100 million killed by Marxism-Leninism. We're going to tell the truth about that and about other atrocities committed by Marxism and Leninism since the dawn of the 20th century. We also will make sure, and we're going to continue to do, that whatever is put in school is age appropriate for young kids. my wife and I have a 5, a 4, and a 2-year-old at home, so we're very sensitive about some of the things that are going on in society. And first of all, we're fortunate in Florida to have the best First Lady in all 50 states. She does a really good job. That's right. She said that she wanted to do this movement, Mamas for DeSantis, and she said she hoped to sign up 1 million moms throughout the state of Florida. Yes. And she's actually signed up 1.1 million moms throughout the state of Florida. So, and oh, by the way, on the hurricane, she started, before it even hit landfall, Ian, she did a Florida Disaster Fund effort, and she's now raised over $54 million for storm victims. So, as parents of young kids, we think parents in the state of Florida should be able to send their kids to elementary school without having some agenda shoved down their throat. It is inappropriate to be injecting concepts like sexuality and gender identity into these classrooms, particularly in the elementary school, which is what we've done here in Florida to prevent. It's wrong. These are very young kids. And these are inappropriate concepts. It's wrong to tell some first grader that their gender is a choice, or tell a third grader that they may have been born in the wrong body. That is happening in other parts of this country. And we had a legislative debate over a bill called Parents' Rights in Education that was going to put a stop to it. Now, the left had a spasm about this. The media had a spasm about it. They demagogued the bill, but the left was smart. They knew they could not win election running on teaching a first grader that they could change their gender. They know people don't want that. That's not good. They know they would lose. And so what they thought they could do was enlist the help of woke corporations to put pressure on either legislature or on me and maybe kill the bill that way. And so they enlisted the granddaddy of them all in the state of Florida, Disney, to come out and oppose the legislation. Now, came out and opposed it, and, look, they demagogued that it was wrong, but a lot of people were saying, if they can get Disney to bring the hammer down, then this is not something that is going to be able to be signed into law because, no governor has ever stood up to Disney. And in fact, if you look since the 60s just about, whatever Disney has wanted in Florida, Disney has gotten in Florida. Until now. We don't cow to corporate pressure. We're not going to stand back because a California-based corporation is trying to bring the heat. We stood strong. We stood for you and your families and your kids, and we signed the bill into law. And we're happy we did that. And yes, then you had the situation where they were saying they're going to try to repeal the bill and all this, and people are just like, what is going on here? The thing is, though, they're not just a normal company. They get massive subsidy and special privileges in Florida. They've had for decades their own government that they control in Central Florida. They're exempt from laws that their competitors have to follow, and they get major tax breaks. And so we said, sexualizing these young kids is wrong. It is not consistent with Florida values. You are taking a different position, which may be your right, but you do not have a right to keep being on a pedestal in this state. And so we took action with the legislature, and because we did, Disney is no longer going to have its own government in the state of Florida. They're going to live under the same laws as everybody else, and they're going to pay their fair share of taxes in the state of Florida. And the thing is, that we're even having some of these debates, it shows you woke ideology and what it's doing. I signed, and I was happy to do it in 2021, I signed legislation protecting women's sports in Florida, and I'm happy to do it. Don't get me wrong. But you have a situation, and it's crazy. You compete on the men's swim team for 3 seasons, and then you switch to the women's team, and you win the national championship, and you win it over a swimmer who's from this area, who should have been national champion. How is that fair to these women athletes? And it's not fair, and it's basically ideology overtaking fairness and integrity of these competitions. So in the state of Florida, and as a father of 2 daughters, our girls, our women athletes, they get to compete with fairness, integrity, and a level playing field. And that's just how it's going to be in the state of Florida. And to show you kind of how out of control this has gotten, this is sad that we're having to even talk about it, but in the most recent years, you've seen an increase in physicians giving minors, teenagers, puberty blockers and performing sex change operations on minors. And first of all, teenagers go through a lot, okay? It's an odd time. Most of the 80% of the dysphoria resolves itself by the time they're adults anyways, and yet they're doing things that are basically mutilating these teens and these kids, and that's irreversible. And so we've had adults who are now adults come to us and say, this is wrong. They went through this when they were minors, and they regret it, and they wish they could turn back time and be whole again. And so this is ideology running amok. This is not evidence-based. European countries that fiddled with this have reversed course because it's harmful. And so in the state of Florida, we took action through the Florida Board of Medicine. And so now, if a physician gives puberty blockers or does sex change operations in these mutilation procedures, they will lose their medical license in our state. Now, but it shows you, we have woke ideology that's infecting a lot of different institutions. And yeah, in the political sphere, legislative sphere, of course, we're going to defeat that ideology in Tallahassee, but you see it in many different institutions. So in the state of Florida, we will fight on all fronts. We will fight the woke in corporate America. We will fight the woke in education. We will even fight the woke in medicine. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die. Well, I'm excited for Tuesday. I mean, I reckon that there's a lot of voters in Sarasota, Manatee counties that are going to storm those polls on Election Day. We're already doing very well on the turnout, by the way, but I think that the big Election Day turnout is going to put us in position to have historic victories across this state. And it's not just, me. We have people running for Congress, U.S. Congress. We have statewide, we have 16 Republican U.S. congressmen. After Tuesday, we're going to have at least 20 Republican U.S. congressmen. We have an opportunity if we can re-elect people like Fiona McFarland. Where's she at? Is she here? There she is. Fiona McFarland, Sarasota. If we can re-elect people and elect some others, we could have super majorities in the Florida legislature, House and Senate. That is doable. And I want to thank the folks here in Sarasota. I know we have Jack Brill is here and Christian Ziegler for working hard to really make this county one of the Republican engines of the state of Florida. I think this is going to be the best year ever in Sarasota and Manatee. So you ready to make your voice heard on Tuesday? Are you going to come out to re-elect your governor? And are you going to make sure we keep Florida free Thank you all. Thanks so much. God bless everybody. Thank you.